welcome back to Get Down to Business, the show all about small business jobs and entrepreneurship. I am really excited to be joined by Erin Harrigan, who has quite a story to tell. Quite the entrepreneur, the coach, author, speaker, but also a religious woman, really, and with a fantastic personal story along the way. Erin, thanks so much for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Absolutely. So, I mean, perfect segue. I always love to get to know the person behind the microphone. Let's talk
Mhm.
about you for a moment, Erin. Tell us a little bit about yourself. I believe you're in Chesapeake Bay in Maryland,
Mhm.
but certainly you're working with folks all over the country.
Yeah.
Tell our listeners a little bit about yourself and how you became the, again, author, speaker, coach, and so much more.
Yeah, so, October 2014, I woke up. I had a big house, a luxury car. I had my own multi-level marketing business that was seemingly going pretty well. I had all this outward success, but all this inward emptiness. My husband and I were at each other's throats because 2 years prior to that, I had been let go from my very lucrative corporate job that I had wanted to get out of at some point anyway. My girls were teenagers. We were going deeper and deeper into debt because we were not good stewards of our finances. And I looked in the mirror and thought, this is not what I thought success was going to be. And so I reached out to a mentor that day and expecting her to tell me, you just have to do more and you just have to work harder. She said, I don't think you know who you are or whose you are. And she said, "Do you have a relationship with Jesus?" And quite honestly, I didn't. And so that was the pivotal moment at 46 years old that took this inborn driver, striver, and achievement chaser I had been my whole life and completely shifted how I view and do business. And then eventually went on to save my marriage, to teach my kids to be good stewards of their income, and led me to coaching high achieving women like myself.
That's awesome. And certainly you talked about your husband for a second. If I understand your story correctly, your husband is also a master chef as well, which I know is an important part of your life. So that's good too.
It is.
That's
That
certainly
is
very
for
important.
sure.
That's great. So again, chatting with Erin Harrigan, really appreciate you joining us and being so vulnerable and sharing your story.
Yeah.
One of the things that I saw over and over again on your website and just as I did my research is you really have taken your story and you have redefined hustle. You
Yeah.
again had a very lucrative career, as you said, but now what I love about what you're doing, Erin, is you're empowering other women. You're empowering, frankly, other entrepreneurs,
Mhm.
and with that new focus and with that new purpose.
Yeah.
And you actually literally wrote a book on the topic, pursuing success God's way.
Yeah.
So what was some of the aha moments as you let's start about the business side
Mm.
of things for a
Sure.
moment. We'll break it apart into pieces, but in sort of rebuilding your identity and your career as a professional, what are some of the tips that you'd share with our listeners?
Yeah, I really believe that the issue is not hustle itself because as high achievers, male or female, we kind of like to be at a certain pace in our business. But I believe, like so many other definitions in the world, that we have completely misconstrued hustle to mean aggressive, pushy, constantly working, burning the candle at both ends, and all of those pieces. And from my own experience, like I did that and I had the money, but I was completely burnt out and unfulfilled. So I don't believe that hustle is the issue. I believe it's how we define and pursue it. I believe that if we take the first definition that's actually in the dictionary, which is really about working from a place of intention, then we can reframe how we look at business and work from a place of intention and purpose and timing without becoming workaholics and overachievers. So number 1, I would encourage everyone to kind of look at where they are in business and define where they want to be or where they think they're going, and really tune in for me to God, but tune into, like, is this the path I'm supposed to be on, and what could it look like if I wasn't constantly working and working weekends and all of the pieces. In the United States, we're really good at working way more than 40 hours a week, and I just don't I know from my own experience and others that we don't have to do that to be successful.
Absolutely. Redefining hustle. So let's change gears for a moment and let's talk about, again, your identity. You're very proud of being a very successful Christian woman, and obviously you've been striving to be an inspiration and a guide through your coaching, through your writing
Yeah.
to others. But also, you have a podcast of your own, and
Yes.
believe it or not, I believe that title is Redefining Hustle. Is that right?
That is absolutely right. A year ago, I rebranded it from the Hustle with Heart podcast to Redefining Hustle, to truly plant the flag in that place that we can meet in the middle, that we don't have to be hustling and we also don't have to buy into anti-hustle culture.
Oh, wow. Okay, fantastic. That's great. So let's talk about that spiritual identity,
Yeah.
which again, really important. In full transparency, I'm Jewish, and I'm a future Army Jewish chaplain, and
Yeah.
I firmly believe in certainly we have the same mindset of
Yeah.
faith is so important in especially in those challenging days, whether you're in the military or certainly business. There's
Absolutely.
some similarities, a lot of differences too.
Yeah.
But what how did you finding faith and really making it very much a part of your life, not having different identities, but how did that make you a better wife, a better mom, and a better professional?
Well, for so long in my life, I defined myself by my achievement. When was I on stage? When did I get recognition? How many commas do I have in my paycheck? It was all very much driven by material, money, success, titles. When I had that literal come to Jesus moment, what I realized is, regardless of your faith background, if we are anchoring our identity to the world's measures of success, to what it looks like to be a super mom or a wonderful wife or whatever, those attributes, those standards are ever changing. It's shifting sands. And so then what happens when you've had all the success and, oh, I don't know, a pandemic comes along? It rocks your identity because no longer are you doing things the way that you did. And so that pivotal moment for me said, my identity is not wrapped up in worldly measures. My It can't be, because I can never actually achieve, because there's this whole idea of once you achieve one thing, you got to be going for the next. And that really shifted me to understand that the only person that defines me is he who created me. And if that's the case, then nothing that happens in life, in business, etc., should be able it can mess with my identity, but I don't have to linger there. I don't have to be a victim of that. And in shifting that identity, it helped me understand that I don't have to be a perfect wife, but there are ways that I can love my husband, that I would learn from the Lord, right? I don't have to be a perfect mom, but I also can meet my kids in the identity of like they're children of God. God made them too. And so it's helped me be a better citizen. It's helped me be a better friend. It's helped me be a better member of community, to see that it's not me showing up with a title or a paycheck or whatever. It's me showing up as like God made me and God made you. So how do we interact from that space?
So you wrote a practical guide to hustle with heart, and it's
Yeah.
called "Pursuing Success God's Way." Certainly, I've been reading the reviews, and there's a lot of people that you've been able to impact. And I know writing a book is not for the faint of heart. I know how much work is involved in that.
Yeah.
So, what are some of the key takeaways that you put into that book, and why our listeners should find the book? And of course, where can they find it?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can find it on Amazon. You can also find it on my website, erinharrigan.com. I meant for it to be, when I say practical guide, like that you could jump into any chapter and really work through it. So some of the key factors in this, I would say, really boil down to what has evolved to be what I call the four keys to redefine hustle: define, direct, discipline, develop. As you're looking at your journey in business or in work, right? Defining what is my role, and what is the mission or the assignment that I've been given in the marketplace. Directing, am I tied pridefully to my to-do list, or is there some deeper impact that I'm made to make, and therefore turning to God to say, like, okay, Lord, where do you want me to serve? And who are those people? Discipline. We've got to take action. There's a lot of people who know what they're supposed to do and they have their to-do list. And for some reason, they don't take action. And so then they're lamenting that they haven't gotten far. And then development. If we think of our lives, our businesses, our work as a place to learn, as a place
Hmm.
to grow. We're constantly developing into the human being that we were made to be. And so those four keys
Yeah,
have grown out of the book, but it is really a place where a woman of faith can go and say, how do I actually embrace my ambition,
absolutely.
but do it God's
Absolutely.
way?
Aaron, how can folks get a hold of you one more time?
Yeah, go to my website, erinharrigan.com, or find me on LinkedIn as Erin Harrigan.
And of course, the book's available on Amazon as well.
Yeah.
Erin Harrigan, thank you so much for joining us. Can't wait to bring you
Thank
back on
you.
real soon. A quick break. Lots more small business jobs and entrepreneurship when we return after this quick break.